All right, everybody. Welcome to this month's radio show on KBUK, KBUK, Grange. This is a pre-recorded radio show. Ryan and I are recording it a day before he leaves on vacation tomorrow.
Yes, sir.
Ryan's our producer, produces our radio show content and our podcast, the Entre podcast.
Yep.
So,
yeah, it's good to be here. Good to be.
If any of this information is outdated by tomorrow, we do apologize.
It's true. Who knows what could happen in 12 hours?
All right. Some things we're going to talk about today is national real estate news, pricing trends. We're going to talk about pricing strategies for listings. We're going to talk about industry insights and buyer demographics, land stewardship theme, and we'll talk about some things that are happening here in the future, just community stuff and all that good stuff. So let's talk about national real estate trends, pricing trends. Ryan, what we're seeing is home prices are cooling nationally. There's a shift in the market. And, that's one thing that we're seeing is that there's a slow amount. There's more listings coming on the market. There's not as many buyers, it feels like sometimes. And just a little stat for everybody. This was last year's stat. 71% of realtors didn't sell a house in 2024. That's nationally. So that tells you how tough the market is right now for a lot of agents. And so you're seeing a lot of folks are leaving the industry because of the competitiveness and a lack of transactions. But the truth be told is that there's still a lot of agents doing really, really well. And we're going to talk about some of the things you can do as an agent to continue to grow your business and be vigilant in this time of toughness. 3 years ago, everybody wanted to be in real estate because it was easy. Now it's hard, and you've got to figure out a way to compete in this market. There's always, when people ask you how the market is, there's always a good market. There's good markets for sellers, and there's good market for buyers. And so right now is a really good market for buyers. I remember a guy named Armando Valim. I've talked about him before on this particular show. And during the housing crisis of 2008, 2009, Armando came into my office, and I ended up selling him four fourplexes in Austin. Mm-hmm. And I sold him some duplexes, and he was a really, really great client. And Armando was a guy that saved my real estate career by being there and me working diligently and finding him good deals that were really good cash on cash return on these rental properties. And I'll never forget, the market got really good. In 2011, the market turned, and it got really, really good. Mm-hmm. Things started moving again. There was more buyers and sellers. And I remember me calling Armando, and I said, Armando, do you want to buy any more property? He said, how's the market? I said, man, it's been great. Things have been going well. He said, well, call me when it gets bad again. So there's a market for the sophisticated investors out there. This is a good market to find opportunity, to find deals that could cash flow potentially. Real estate's prices are high, but now is a great time to probably negotiate some deals to where you can possibly find some cash flow deals. For the true investors that aren't the flippers, I say a monkey can buy and sell high, but the true investor will buy, correct, and find properties that can cash flow and make them a revenue stream and get all the tax advantages and the appreciation over the long term and all this. So anyways, there's two types of markets, buyers markets and sellers markets. Right now, I feel like we're in a really good buyers market for folks. So, I think right now is a great time to focus on investors and sort of speak like that. So let's talk about the agents though. Some things that you can do, in your business, I have a lifestyle that I built, Ryan. And so you've got, as an agent, you've got to say, okay, what kind of lifestyle do I have? What kind of vacations do I want to go on? What's my mortgages? What are my bills? What are my debts? What do I need to make on a monthly basis? And once you figure out what you need to make, and plus put some fun in there, and then you'd also need to invest too. But find out what that number is, and then put a business plan around that number to go get your transactions. And that's why you and I work so heavily on our database, right? Our CRM, our follow-up boss. And so we've got to constantly make contacts to get to a close. Right now, they're saying it takes 150 contacts to get to one close. It was 100 contacts to one close. So as agents, you've got to be making contact. Real estate is a physical sport right now. You've got to be making contacts. You've got to be following up with people to get to those closings. So 150 contacts to get to a closing. So it's not easy right now. Yeah. Have to work hard, but that's okay, right? Mm-hmm. because when the market does turn and it does shift as an agent, there will be opportunities because you did make it through this market, and that's where the opportunity is. It's a really good time as an agent to get into because you will learn how to deal with the bad, and when it gets good again, you'll be like, "This is awesome," you know. So
that's a good point.
Another thing too is our CRMs, our databases, our contacts in there. 95% of the folks in our database have zero immediate need to buy or sell real estate. So it leaves us 5% will move.
That tracks correctly with the opening rates and the click-through rates that we get with our newsletters.
Yeah. So Ryan and I, what we try to do, folks, is we try to consistently add value to our database, to our CRM, without being annoying.
Yes, that's my main fear.
Yeah, we want to add value, right? So education. I remember, I talked about Wayne Morgan, my mentor, before. He'd always ask me, Chip, what business are you in? I'd say real estate. He's like, no, you're in the education business. Your job is to educate your clients, educate. And eventually they will call you. And that's what we want to do, educate. And we do some fun things too. We do, we talk about some of the events we're going to and inviting those folks to those things and having a relationship with all our folks is very important. That's how we try to do that. So we only have so much time. I want to move on to the pricing strategy. Do you want to compliment on anything that we just talked about?
No, just that the CRM. We try to provide value with our marketing, and we do that through our blogs, and honestly through our podcast too.
Yeah.
A lot of that just is educating our customers or clientele, and if that way they know eventually when they need something in real estate done, they know there's this trusted team locally, with years of experience and a whole marketing sector dedicated to getting their place sold or their home bought.
For sure.
Yeah.
Thank you for all you do. I'm telling you guys, Ryan is a fantastic asset on our team, and the content that he helps put together and doing things like this and is just a really good person to have on your team. Real estate is also a team sport. So it's a contact sport, it's a team sport too.
It's been a heck of a game lately.
Yeah. So let's talk about pricing strategy for listings. There's a 4-part method I've been talking to the agents about. When we're taking on listings, we want to tell our sellers, listen, we want to price aggressively right now. You don't want to be getting a situation where you're chasing the market down. I'm just going to use simple numbers. Okay. So let's say your house is worth $100,000 and there's 5 others on the market just like yours. This is not a market to price it at $100,000. You would probably want to price it a little bit below market, where the market is headed. Where do you think the market is heading? If you're seeing it taper off and get prices kind of coming down, you're seeing price reductions, which we are all seeing price reductions. You want to get ahead of that. You want to get below the 100,000, maybe price it at 95,000, be really, really aggressive. And here's what you want. Once you price it aggressively, you want to have some showings, right? You want to try to get 3 showings out the gate. That means you're priced right. You want to see people come back for a second showing. You want to see positive feedback on those showings. And then you want to hear the agents or the clients talking of offers. If you're not hearing those 4 things out of the chute and you're wanting to move that property, it's probably we need to reduce the price. We want to be aggressive on the forefront. We don't want to be sitting 6 months down the road with this thing still sitting and getting you in a bad situation. There's a saying, I'd rather upset you today than upset you tomorrow. Let's get the pain over. Let's talk about real numbers and let's get this done for you if you're serious about selling. And that's something we're telling our agents right now is we got to have those 4 things. We want to see showings. We want to see second showings. We want to see positive feedback, ongoing talk of offers. I recently took a listing, priced it right, had a ton of showings. It's been showing a lot. Every day somebody's looking at it, right? Haven't had any offers. It's only been on the market 2 weeks, but I hadn't had any offers. There's something wrong with it, right? So I got to have that conversation with my seller. Listen, we got 1 of the 4. We've got showings, but we got no offers. We don't have any positive feedback. And so we need to probably adjust the price to compensate for what's wrong with that property. And so we can get you on down the road with getting that thing sold. So difficult conversations, but conversations that we must have in order to accomplish the goal, right?
Yeah.
Anything you want to talk about that? Anything you want to say? Any rebuttals?
No, I think it was a good wake up call, I think, for some of the agents this morning, to hear that, because I think right now they have a lot of listings. So like, they're kind of like thinking, how do I go back and redo that? So maybe you can't do it now, but going forward, this is going to be a better strategy to prepare your clients for what to expect and how to, engage in this market that's on the decline in prices.
Yeah. Another thing we want to tell our sellers, we want to probe the seller preference. A lot of sellers want to leave room to negotiate, but if you leave room to negotiate, you're sitting there waiting on the right buyer. You can also, you can negotiate down, which that's room to negotiate is you're negotiating down, right? Because they're going to bring an offer less than what you're asking, but you can also negotiate up. If you price it, can't guarantee it will happen, but a lot of times if you price it really, really right, you'll get multiple offers. And then all of a sudden you're negotiating up because people are fighting to get that property because it's something they see the value, it's priced better than all the other stuff out there, and you're attracting that buyer to the property because of the price, and you can negotiate up. So that's something to think about too when you're pricing your properties is you can negotiate up when you think about it. So another little, I like to throw out quotes sometimes to get people excited about life, but this is something I read this morning while putting this content together with you, is that success is not about the chosen few. It's about the few who choose. And I think that's very powerful. We have to, we got to choose to have this dialogue, to have this information so we can help our sellers make better decisions. So it's the few who choose.
Approaching real estate with a determination or like an ability to have these tough conversations to get the job done.
And they're not fun conversations.
It doesn't sound like it.
They're not fun. I've been doing them up until this moment when we got on the air talking about this, Ron. I was calling clients, getting price reductions. And I call them right away. I was like, I'm here to be the bad guy today. I'm going to ask for your blessing of a price reduction. This is where I think we need to price it to get this thing moved.
Yeah.
Can you work with me on this? And I'm like, if you can't stomach it, that's okay. But I want you to know that I care about you. And I know that you want to get this done. So this is my suggestion and where we need to go with this. And so they've been listening today. So we'll move on down to number 3, industry insights and buyer demographics and considerations. Why does the market look the way it does right now? We've got a few things happening, Ryan. We've got rates that were ultimately really, really low that ultimately hurt us in the long short term. When people were getting rates at 3% and they're at 6%, they're having a hard time making a move. We also see prices that are elevated. And so there's a tug fight right now. But we're seeing some adjustment. Like we talked about, sellers are coming down, pricing is getting better, and rates are coming down too somewhat. So, I know we're seeing like 30-year fixed at 6.3, somewhere around there right now. So that's not a terrible rate. It's actually getting good. I always say once we get to 6, the market's going to pop and I think things will start moving again. So you got that tug of war, right? I don't want to trade my 3% rate in for a 6% rate. And then you just also have too the dynamics of the economy in general. I've got this election done with yesterday. I think that'll maybe change some things, maybe see the government open back up. I've got 2 loans right now that are government loans that I can't get funded because the government's been shut down. So that's hurting the pocketbook for me and for our clients that want to get their places sold. So that's happening. And then just the economy in general too. AI is starting to affect us. We had a speaker come in for a sales meeting this morning, folks, from Austin, and he talked about the number of tech jobs. Austin's seeing a lot of tech jobs being laid off right now. And that's going to affect housing too, because people aren't going to be buying if they're getting laid off, right? And so you may see more people selling, when that happens. So that's going to affect things too. And Austin, used to be everybody went west. Houston was always a big oil and gas market. Now Houston economy is a lot more diversified nowadays, but you always saw everybody move west. So Houston bought out this way and Austin went kind of to the hill country. But we've always been more recently getting it from all sides. We've been having Austin buyers, especially in that Fayette County area. You'll see more Austin buyers that way. And then they're also this way too. But then Houston, they're moving west. So we're getting to both sides. But now that Austin's kind of being affected by these layoffs too, I think it'll affect us out here too in the country. So yeah. And another thing, the national stat is first-time home buyers are historically low. Currently, 21% of home buyers are first-time home buyers, and the average age of a first-time home buyer is in the early 40s, which is crazy to me. I just cannot believe. We wanted to be done having kids at 40, and of course, when you're having your kids, you want to have a house ready too to raise them in and make those memories. So that's a staggering stat for me to wrap my head around, that the average age of first-time home buyers are over the age of 40 right now. So
That's what I'm shooting for.
So, it's tough. When prices are, I remember when I bought my first home, Ryan, we paid $130,000 for it. And it was a 3-bedroom, 2-bath, 1,600 square foot home in Leander. And, that was, now that same house is probably worth 300, for a first time home buyer. So,
yeah. Do you think with the way the market's moving now, does that bode well for first time home buyers, or is it still prices too high?
Well, the thing is, prices have held their own. You can take that money and throw it away to rent, or you can throw it towards your mortgage and pay down and get, over time you pay down your principal and all that over the long run. And so you're building equity there. You may not get the amount of appreciation, but the appreciation will come back. When I bought my house in Leander, Ryan, I bought it at the top of the market. And then we had the housing bust. I had to go through all of that. So my house probably, I may have lost some value there, in the first 2 or 3 years. But as soon as the market turned, I eventually made good money on that house.
Yeah.
So when people need to quit. People need to stop looking at real estate as an investment. It is an investment, but it's also a place to create memories and to raise your family and all this. And over time, you are building equity, right? But it's not about buying that house and selling it in 2 years and making money.
Yeah,
it should be more than that, and that's what I'm trying to get at today is don't look at it as buying a stock.
Gotcha.
I'm not trying to buy low and sell high tomorrow.
Yeah.
So
just make memories, and then you might be able to afford more memories after you sell your house.
Yeah. You had written down listings increase in 2025. Is high inventory bad?
Yeah. That was the question. Is the amount of inventory that we've seen pop back up this year, is that bad, good? What are your thoughts?
I think it's good. Ryan, you look at it, for the longest time, we didn't want to work with buyers because there was just no inventory.
Yeah.
Yes, when we got a listing, it sold right away, but it was so frustrating working with buyers. Now it's actually fun to be a buyer's agent because you can go out, you can shop, you can negotiate great deals and find opportunities for those folks out there, especially on the land side too. If you're looking for a ranch, we got some great ranches right now. It's a great opportunity to buy these 500, 600 acre places that weren't available a few years ago. Now they're available. And sellers are, my sellers are willing to make a deal. If you see something of mine that's listed, let's talk. You're like, I don't like that price. Well, let's talk.
Yeah.
All my sellers are open to discussion and getting a deal done. So I don't think I have anybody that I've got listed that's just like, I don't want to sell.
Yeah.
I want to sell. I'm serious about selling. Obviously they want to get as much as they can. But if you see something of ours that you like, but you don't like the price, let's discuss it. Don't be scared.
All right.
So just want to throw that out there.
Good deal.
Very good. So let's talk about some fun stuff, Ryan.
Yeah.
Land stewardship theme. So we did this. I'm gonna kind of let you run with this one if you don't mind.
Yeah. No.
Because Ryan's real passionate about this, and so we had a guy named Gary on. I'm gonna let you talk.
No, you're good. Yeah. So first off, make sure you go subscribe and listen to the latest Entre podcast episode. We had our friends with Land Within Reach, Ryan and Jacob stop by, and they basically just broke down kind of their vision of what their land development company does. And of course, they have their typical projects, but they've really transitioned into, or are trying to transition into, like this whole new idea of conservation development, right? With the ecosystem in mind, the natural beauty of Texas in mind. He's real passionate about being a steward moving forward. As more people come to Texas, it'd be great if we could have a plan to preserve, larger parts of it, and also restore them back to their natural habitat while doing so, and while also providing space for humans to live and create memories. So just north of town, they had here in Schulenburg, near the Freiburg area.
Yeah.
They bought about 80 acres, divided up in 11 plots. But the whole development itself is a shared area, a shared prairie that they're rehabilitating through the Wildlife Habitat Federation,
Yeah, WHF.
with Gary Stevens. They're partnering with them and a few other organizations that basically create a whole community dedicated to being that steward that they talked about being.
Yeah, they're the natural, getting it to the 4 main natural grasses of Texas, and then having Plateau Wildlife and Management come out and put a wildlife management plan together. So the ecosystem of the grasses and the wildlife management plan, the birds, the deer, and all this, bringing that all together and keeping that in harmony while humans can live there, right?
Yes. Yeah. And I I feel like it's going to be maybe a different type of person that buys into that idea at first.
Yeah.
But I think once we see that take off, I think that's just a great idea that we could see elsewhere in Texas, all over the place.
I think it's like cutting edge, like something I think they're ahead of their time a little bit on it. But I think it's going to be something of the future that people are going to want as things get built out and as more and more people move here. Like he talks about that stat, I forget what it was, but it's an ungodly amount of people that are going to be moving to Texas until 2050 it's like double the population. And it's scary. It's scary. But if you can maintain our native grassland, if you can maintain the ecosystem for the habitat and wildlife and all this while humans move in, I think that's fantastic.
Yeah. And the responsibility is on Texans who are already here. You have to, if people are going to come, buy land up, then have plans in place for how to, provide natural habitats so that, those things aren't lost. It's also healthier for the ecosystem. Anytime you have natural grasses, the roots go down like 4 feet compared to 6 inches that you get with this grazing grass that's supposed to grow every 6 months or something like that. So the whole idea behind it is really revolutionary. I think go check out that podcast and listen to them, but also give us a call. I think they'll be happy to have us too.
I'm going to show you the development. It's beautiful.
Yeah,
it is fantastic. They did a heck of a job out there, and it's beautiful with the fencing that they put up. They spared no expense.
No, yeah,
to make it nice.
Yeah,
the bird feeders and there's everything there. So Gary Stevens, who's with Wildlife Habitat Federation, he helped put the grasslands plan together for them. So I knew Gary before. I had him talk we went to Texas A&M last year to Capital Farm Credit, and he was one of my guest speakers. So I'm chapter president of Realtor Land Institute, and I invited him to talk about what Wildlife Habitat Federation does. So that excited me. And so, I always thought about bringing Gary out to my place and let's walk in the land and stuff, but I never did it. And then when I went out to these guys' development in Freiburg, I got really excited then. And then I immediately went home and I called Gary and I went online to Wildlife Habitat Federation and I put in an application for him to come visit me at my house. So last week, Gary came to the house at 9 a.m., I think on Thursday, and he gets out of his truck. And I was like, hey, I'll get my buggy, go get my Can-Am, we'll ride. He's like, no, we're going to walk. We're going to walk and we're going to talk and put a plan together.
That's very cool.
The fact that he took, we spent an hour and a half with me thereabouts and just walked the land, went and walked the creek. And he talked about how the creek is, he's like, he loved the creek. He's like, this is a sanctuary for birds. Now we put the grass in with this and all this. You're going to attract so much wildlife and so much bird watching. And I was like, my wife loves the birds though. She already is like taking pictures of her painted buntings and all this stuff that are coming. And we got bluebirds too. We got our boxes and all this, but my wife just loves the idea. And I told her that Gary came and what it could potentially look like if we do the work, that he's going to put together for us. And so it's really, really exciting, especially with like the natural wildflowers and stuff that we're going to put together and create that atmosphere that, the grasslands that we're talking about to attract wildlife and that ecosystem because the thing is, like, as humans, we cut our yards, we shred, we do all this stuff, but then that takes away from the natural habitat for a lot of these things that these natural grasses do attract.
Right. It's like everyone appreciates nature, but we fight it a lot on our own property.
Well, you think about too, we're even in a drought, right? And so this type of stuff helps with drought situations too.
Oh yes.
You look at your ponds and all that stuff, you'll get better runoff. You'll have better things happen when you have these types of grasses and where the ground's just not soaking it up,
Yep.
it'll definitely help you out. So, but yeah, he took time and then he gave me a ton of seed for wildflowers and all this. And so I didn't know this also, but HEB partnered with them. So I don't know if you're looking on the seed packages, but
really?
HEB called them and partnered with Wildlife Habitat Federation. So big
It's
shout out for HEB.
soon.
They're seeing the I guess the positivity to this movement as well. So
they always, what an organization that is, or a company. I mean, Texas first for sure.
Absolutely.
So
very good. I wonder how much time we got left, Ryan.
We got about 4 minutes here, not even. So
okay. Hey, one thing I want to talk about is we have the turkey shoot coming up at Freiburg. If you have not seen that, I'm gonna go to my Facebook page because I got tagged this morning, but we had the turkey shoot. It's a fundraiser. It's at Freiburg Hall, our dance hall, and we're so excited to host this event. But it's the St. Rosalima Turkey Shoot. Let's eat and greet and aim. So it's on Sunday, November 16th at 2 p.m. And so if you've not signed up for it, come on out. We've got some music and everything gonna be out there. We got says tomato throwing, sack races, pumpkin decorating, and corn. What does this say? Cornhole, sponsored by the Knights of Columbus. So, and then get the turkey shoot. So it's a great fundraiser, great benefit, and a great time. So coming out to Freiburg Hall on Sunday, November 16th, you can have a 410, you can have a 20 gauge, or 16, or not or 12 gauge, but no 16 gauge.
Okay.
I have one guy that wants to bring a 16 gauge, and I've commented this morning. They're like no 16 gauges, but 12 gauge or 20 gauge and a 410 are allowed for guns. So I think that's the kind of ammunition they're going to have there for this thing. So
Gotcha.
Very good. Come on out, and love to see you guys there for the St. Rosalima Turkey Shoot. What else we got going on? We just had.
I don't have anything.
You don't have anything going on? I'm sure
Chili
there's.
spiel was just happening. That was the last thing.
Yeah, I went over there. I took the kids. I wanted to go for a couple hours, and we ended up staying for 4 hours. And everybody got mad at me because I got grouchy and wanted to go home, and I was the bad guy. So I had to apologize to everybody the next day for being tired and grouchy, wanting to get home.
That's all right.
So I'm I'm too old for this.
Need your beauty rest.
Hey guys, I want to thank y'all for tuning in. Thank you, Ryan, for putting this content together for us today. I hope you got some value out of it. If we can help you in the real estate world, please visit bubellarealestate.com. Check out our podcast. It's on Spotify. It's on Apple Podcasts. We're also on the YouTube.
Mm-hmm.
And watch us there. We have some. Go ahead.
If you want to watch this as a replay, it'll be up on YouTube and on the podcast channel as well.
Okay, very good. And then we also want to give a shout out to our partner, sister company, Partners Insurance. And insurance hasn't been easy either, but those ladies are doing a wonderful job on the front lines, helping our clients secure insurance and get you the best possible rate with the best coverage. So, thank you all. God bless you. Y'all have a great rest of y'all's week. And remember us when you're buying or selling real estate. Give us a call, bubellarealestate.com.
All right. Bye-bye.